So the video I'm going to make for you today is twofold really. I'm going to show you the process of firing the PMC with these more intricate pieces, but it's also an experiment because the woman, who happens to be a dear friend of mine, who asked me to make this piece, had a vision of a wolf. The wolf came to her as her power animal, but also included in her vision was her ancestors. So this is the piece that I'm going to be firing, and what she's done is sent me something really quite precious. She sent me a little piece of her grandmother's hair, beautiful white hair, silver head, and what she's asked me to do is fire the piece with the hair so that it's imbued with her grandmother's spirit. She's also sent me a piece of her own hair so that that can be mixed with her grandmother's hair so that she can feel connected to her ancestors through this piece. So as I said, it's twofold. It's an experiment because I've never fired a piece with hair on it, but I'll also be explaining to you about the process of firing the PMC. Safety is obviously quite important to consider when you're firing with a blowtorch. I choose to fire in my fireplace. One of the reasons is that I know that the fumes that come off the piece will go up the chimney. Another is that this is obviously a safe place for fire, so if the blowtorch happens to get knocked over or something falls down, then I'm in a place where I'm not going to burn any sheepskins or carpets or anything precious. Another important thing about firing is to have everything that you need ready before you begin. So I have a bowl of water here for quenching the piece. I have the pliers. The thing about copper is that it needs to be plunged immediately as soon as it's finished firing, and whilst it's still hot you pick it up and put it straight into the water, because what that does is pushes off the fire scale, and that saves you a lot of brushing later. I obviously have the blowtorch. I choose to light my blowtorch with this blowtorch style lighter because I just find it much easier to light it with that. Sometimes the gas can sort of blow out the flame on a normal lighter. And you also need a timer. I fire these kinds of pieces for 15 minutes, which is longer than the recommended time, but I like to ensure that it's definitely fired. And basically copper can take quite a lot of firing. You're not very likely to melt it. Although if you do see it begin to go liquidy, then you just sort of pull the blowtorch back and let it cool down a little bit. Okay, let's get on with the firing. When you begin firing a piece, what you want to do is move the blowtorch around the outside of it slowly so that you're heating up the piece really, really gradually. Most of the flames that you can see here are the grandmother's hair burning into the piece, imbuing it with grandmother energy. But after that hair is burnt away, and if you're firing a piece without hair, what you begin to see is these purpley orangey flames that have a slightly different quality to them. That's the organic binder burning off, so that all that's left is the copper particles that will sinter together through this process. I'm just moving the last little bit of hair here so I can definitely see that all of the organic binder has burnt off. And what I'm doing here is shielding the light from the window on the piece so that I can really see whether it's glowing, because what you want to do is get that piece glowing completely cherry red all over and make sure it's completely hot. And then once this is happening, you can begin your timer. And as I said, I'm going to be timing this one for 15 minutes. Another thing that I really like about firing in my fireplace is this is the hearth of my home. This is the heart of my home. A lot of goodness goes into this fire. Many beautiful wishes are made. My son throwing fir cones in, making wishes. Some really beautiful conversations have happened around this fire. It's, you know, it's really central to my home, just like any good hearth is. And I feel that when I'm firing pieces here, I'm imbuing each piece with a little bit of that magic too. I really enjoy this part of the process because it feels like the real alchemical part. This is the part where something changes from one form into another. And it can also be really interesting looking at the fire scale. I've got very tranced out on the fire scale and different patterns that are coming through. It can be used as a scrying process. I have used it as a scrying process when I've been firing some of the textured moons that I've made, and I've had some amazing insights from this. I think it's a little bit like, you know, when women used to spin, they used to get themselves into a trance and then they would have visions, and it's the same as scrying on water or scrying with smoke. So it's a really beautiful part of the process that I thoroughly enjoy. So here you can see me removing the piece really gently. I'm just keeping the blowtorch on it to make sure it's still really, really hot. I'm afraid I've muted the sound so you don't get to hear that amazing hiss as the piece goes into the water and pushes all the fire scale off. I'm just letting the blowtorch go out gently. I'm making sure that it's completely out before I put it down because sometimes it can tip over. And now the piece is cool enough to take out. I'm rubbing a few of the bits of the black of the fire scale off